Hello, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill, and that was ugly. I can't believe I had to wait till, well, I'm on Central Time, so I can't believe I had to wait till 3:30 in the afternoon to start watching that performance, although they did go down and score first, but then it was downhill from there. That was an ugly game. That was just disgusting. All phases, offense, defense, special teams. It just was a terrible game. Then you add to it, you lose your all pro tight end with a high ankle sprain, probably going to be out at least 6 weeks. So the Browns are going to have to sign a veteran tight end because, I mean, I like Jordan Atkinson as a number 2, but he ain't a starting tight end. So, well, he is now. So let's talk about it. Let's get it out of our system. It's a good thing to talk about it because you get it out of the way and you move on. First of all, you can blame on the offense. You can blame just about everybody. Play calls, Watson, he just did not seem right. He was anxious, antsy. He was frantic, chaotic back there. He couldn't throw the ball long. He couldn't hit anybody on long passes. I know they had one pass that Amari Cooper let go through his hands, but still, I mean, that's one of his specialties is an over-the-shoulder pass and, catch by the wide receiver or the tight end. The quick passing, and he just missed people. He kept doing that. He just does not seem right. There's something wrong with this offense. And I think what's wrong with it is Kevin Stefanski should just let Ken Dorsey call Ken Dorsey's offense. How about that? Isn't that an amazing revelation? I mean, the guy writing up the plays, doing the game week prep, maybe you should let him call and just kind of supervise. Running game? What running game? Yeah, I know that the stat line says 93 yards, but that was mostly Watson running for his life. Too anxious in the pocket. He just did not seem comfortable. And why should he feel comfortable when you got James Hudson at left tackle, who is not a left tackle and who should not be on this team, and DeJuan Jones, who decides to have his worst game at right tackle in his short NFL career. You got to remember, DeJuan Jones, just his second year. He didn't even completely play all his rookie year because he got hurt. And this blame I'll put on Andrew Berry. As all of you know, if you've listened to me, I am not a fan of James Hudson. I'm just not. I wanted the Browns to draft a tackle. I didn't care what round it was. You could have picked one up in any round. You bring him into camp. You let him compete with James Hudson. You say goodbye to James Hudson. I mean, look at the left tackle for Dallas. Guy's massive. He's a big guy, but he only played 14 games in college, and they were all at right tackle. And add to that, he didn't take up football till his senior year in high school. He did pretty well. I mean, the Browns had no answer for the Dallas pass rush. None. 6 sacks, 17 pressures, 17 pressures. It just, even the guards in the center got into the act and were getting used and abused by Dallas. The offense was just not in sync. I waited all this time for that offense. You better hurry up. You better quickly fix it before you head to Jacksonville because you're going to need to. Defense. I've noticed a trend with this defense when they go up against a good quarterback, C.J. Stroud, Russell Wilson when he was with Denver, Stratford with the Rams. They're not that good. Also, I noticed that Dallas was doing some things that Houston did in the wild card game on offense. So maybe they need to change up a little bit, because I have a feeling everybody's going to look at that wild card game tape, and that's the type of offense they're going to use to beat this defense. They just struggle against really, really good veteran quarterbacks. And Dak Prescott is a really, really good veteran quarterback. And here's the thing. I mean, he got the big contract before the game, but he really didn't go out and make, his stat line wasn't that great. I mean, it's 19 of 32, 179 yards and 1 touchdown. That's it. He didn't even throw for 200 yards. Browns on defense, they couldn't stop the run. Ezekiel Elliott was ripping them off. Ancient. I think he's as old as me. Special teams, yuck. 60-yard punt return early in the third quarter. It was, I believe, 20-3. Dallas scored shortly after, 27-3. Game over. I looked at my wife. We were watching it together. I looked at her and just said, "That's it. Game over. Nothing they can do. It's over." So, can they fix this prior to going to Jacksonville? Yes, they can. Back in 2020, Kevin Stefanski's rookie year, they went over to Baltimore and got their ass handed to them. And then 4 days later, they played a great game and won against the Bengals at home. So, yes, they can. But it has to start today. Today, they're not practicing. They're in for team meetings. You got to get these guys' attention today. You have to. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about the AFC North. So, because the game was at 3:30, I got to try out my my new way of watching games. It was a little touch and go during the pregame show. Some reason I wanted to know my location, but I worked around that. I'm not giving anybody my location. And I got lucky to find a NFL Sunday Ticket stream, which I used to watch 4 of the noon games. So I got to watch the Bengals game, the Steelers game, the Colts game, and which other one? And I can't remember the last one. I can't remember. Oh, the Buffalo game. Those 4 kind of the 2 I wanted to see were the Bengals game and the Steelers game. All right. And then you add to the fact that I watched a little bit of the Ravens game from Thursday. So I'll start there. There is something wrong with the Baltimore Ravens. I think Kansas City broke them last year in the playoff game. There is something wrong. They are missing. They're missing the defensive players. It looks like they're missing the defensive coaches. Their offensive line is a total mess. When you replace a right tackle in the middle of the game, I wish the Browns had a backup left tackle. I would love to have James Hudson replaced during that game. And Lamar Jackson just doesn't seem comfortable. He's missing wide receivers. Derrick Henry, you're going to run him out of shotgun? Put him in an I formation. That's where Derrick Henry is his best. But still, Lamar Jackson led the team in rushing. All right. Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the only team in the AFC North 1-0, and they didn't even score a touchdown. Nothing but field goals. Their defense is still good, even without Patrick. Even without they're older, and it's just their offense isn't the greatest in the world. Their offensive line is a little bit shabby. Their running game isn't great, but their defense is legit. That's what I was hoping the Browns would do to Dallas yesterday. Dominate and let the offense get what it can. But then again, Pittsburgh got lucky. They're playing Kirk Cousins, who is not the greatest quarterback in the world. So they are now 1-0. And Cincinnati. Oh, my God. They had a problem last year with their secondary. So they upgraded their safeties by getting Geno Smith from Baltimore. All right, they're going to have a great secondary. Now they can't stop the run. And they've got a dumbass for a head coach. I mean, he punts. It's fourth. I believe it was 4th and 5 late in the fourth quarter. They punt the ball back to the Patriots with like 2 minutes left in the game. And what do? They run it right down their throat, go down, and win the game. I hope that Nick Chubb, when he comes back, it's week 7. The Browns 7, 8, and 9 have 3 games at home before the bye. And the first game is against the Bengals. I hope that's the game he comes back and dominates. So let's look into the future a little bit here. Got to fix it before they go to Jacksonville. This is a must win. The only good thing about losing to Dallas is because it was an NFC team. It wasn't an AFC North or an AFC team. Those are your first tiebreakers. So that was the only good thing. But this game against the Jaguars, AFC team, you got to win. And after you win, if you can go down to Jacksonville and get a victory, the next 3 games are relatively easy. So, they got the Giants coming in after this game. And I saw a little of that game. And first of all, the uniforms are ugly. Second of all, Daniel Jones, you gave him all that money? Yuck. So you can fix this, but we got to move on from it. Please don't talk about Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry that Baker Mayfield has finally got his life together, and the only thing you can think of is for them to get rid of Deshaun Watson and bring back. Never should have got rid of Baker Mayfield. Do you not remember why they got rid of Baker Mayfield? They would call plays and send him in, and he'd change them. And they would end up being bad plays that he would change to. Plus, he kept telling the medical staff he could start when he was obviously not right. So don't ask for Baker. Why don't you ask for Jacoby Brissett? He looked great against the Bengals. Let's bring him back. And no, they're not going to bench Deshaun Watson for Jameis Winston. They would have to go like over. And simply, you can't get rid of them. Not now. You got to wait till after the 2026 season to get rid of them. If you do it before then, you're going to do what Denver is doing. And Denver went with Bo Nix as their draftable as their quarterback. And they're in for a long season, and they were on the hook. They're on the hook with a lot of dead money. So that type of cut can send a franchise back longer than Deshaun Watson's contract. Okay, so he's not going anywhere. They're not going to bench him. No, you can't have Baker Mayfield back. No, you can't sign Joe Flacco back. This is what we got. And right now, the fault lies with the coaching staff. They did not do a good job of getting any phase of this team ready for a week 1 opponent. They did nothing. Special teams coach didn't do anything. Defensive coaches didn't do anything. Offensive coaches didn't do anything. This team was unprepared to play week 1. And that's the first time I've seen this in a long time with a Kevin Stefanski team. Going back to his first game in 2020 against the Baltimore Ravens was probably the last time I saw a team this unprepared. And last year when they hosted Baltimore, they did a quarterback change with 45 minutes before kickoff. Totally ridiculous. So let's just move on. Let's focus on Jacksonville. Let's get this team right. It's got too much talent to lay this many eggs, right? Okay, so this has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. We do these shows because we're fans just like you. So I thank you for subscribing, listening, watching, and following. And one last thing, go to our website, go to our Facebook page. There's a link to our new sponsor, Hemisphere Coffee. I am a coffee snob. I used to own a coffee shop. I know how the relationship between a very good roaster and where they get their beans, the farmers. I know that relationship is so important for making great coffee. And Hemisphere, they shake the hands of the farmer, and I believe it. So give them a try. I still think they're doing the 3 bags or a 5-pound bag, and you get free shipping. All right. So everybody, have a great day. It's just calm down, and everybody, go Browns.